Hi there, I'm Claire Chancellor from Be Your Purpose Coaching. Today I want to explore with you the human needs. Now, if you're somebody who's manifesting and you're finding yourself getting frustrated that the thing that you want isn't showing up, then it's likely that your human needs are creating a conflict and pulling you in two different directions. Now, this human needs content that I'm going to talk about is also for NLP coaches. When you have a client come to you and they're feeling stuck in a problem and they're not getting what they want, often it's the human needs getting in the way of what they want. So let's get started with this content. Here we are today talking about the 6 human needs, and I absolutely have to credit Tony Robbins for this remarkable body of work. He's been able to put the pieces of the puzzle together to make this really clear, distinct understanding about what is the difference between your human needs versus getting your wants. Today, I'm going to bring forward my perspective on this, on how how can you use this knowledge to help your clients. And if you're manifesting, it's like, let's work this out on what's holding you back from manifesting in the money, the business success, the good health. Let's dive into this a little bit deeper. Now, we all have these 6 human needs, but the thing to keep in mind is that we're going to prioritize them in a different order. All of our 6 human needs give us the meaning and the purpose in life. And the question is, which one is driving you? Which need is in the front seat driving your life? Now, the 6 human needs are certainty, the need for variety, the need for significance, the need for connection, the need for growth, and the need for contribution. Somebody who has a need for certainty is going to create a very different lifestyle compared to the person who has a higher need for variety. Think about certainty in a sense of somebody who requires a lot of security and a lot of safety, likes to, the to-do list, a lot of order and criteria in their life, compared to somebody who may have the high need for variety. And, they're going to want the adventure, the risk-taking, the yeah, the variety, right? They're just going to be completely bored if they are made to do the same thing over and over again. So that person, to get their needs met, is going to create a lot of variety in their life. So again, we all have these 6 human needs, but the top one or two are going to create the meaning and the difference in your lifestyle. So depending on what you're creating with your manifesting, if you're creating a lot of problems, a lot of drama, a lot of things that are draining your energy, it's very, very well worth checking in with what are your needs, and therefore how is that conflicting with what you want. We can definitely get our needs met in an empowering way, a neutral way, and a disempowering way. And we're going to explore that further. So if I have a client who's struggling with energy, feeling drained, a client who's struggling with money, I understand that that's what they don't want. But as a coach, I also need to better understand what are the underlying needs to be able to coach them to get what they want. So in a coaching situation, we know what they don't want. Often people have a difficult time articulating what they do want, or if they do know what they want, they don't know what's stopping them from, from being able to achieve it. So let's explore this further. These human needs, let's say again that you have that need for certainty, it's going to be the reason why you parent the way that you do. If you have a need for certainty, it's going to create the reason why you spend the money the way that you do. If you have the need for certainty, it's going to create the reason why you argue the way that you do. And if you have a need for certainty, there is that reason why you stay in the same problem and wonder why you're not stepping out in an adventurous way. If you have these needs in place, then there's underlying reasons why you're getting the outcomes that you're getting. So I want you to think about the typical healer, because here at Be Your Purpose, I often attract in clients that are empaths, spiritual healers, phenomenal wellness professionals, and thinking about that type of profile, that type of identity, often they have had a very stressful or chaotic childhood where growing up and being little, they were made to serve or help others. So you think about like a little one walking in, mum's stressed, that little one knows that they can't just leave. Their survival depends on their parents and their caretakers. So as a little one, what they'll do is they'll adapt to try to create a peaceful environment. And in adapting, often empaths will serve and help others. They will put themselves second to be able to create that sense of ease in their world. So where am I going with this, and how does this connect in with the needs? Well, as an example, somebody who's got a need to be significant has often been trained as a little one to get the needs, that validation when they were little, that you're wonderful, that you're so amazing when you give to others. And so they get their needs met by giving, people pleasing. And again, that will turn a little one who's so intuitively trained to read the room and to know, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need? And being able to adapt and change who they are to be able to get that calm, peaceful environment and that validation that they want, that they matter, that they belong. Growing up, they often go into a career where they're still serving and helping others. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? And getting that validation that, like, yes, you're significant, you matter because of how much you give. This is often what causes empaths to create amazing testimonials, amazing results, but they have difficulty then putting themselves first in their business to be able to say yes to that business growth. So, they may keep their prices low in order to get their significance, to get their need met. They may say yes to clients they really shouldn't be working with in order to get that need met to be significant. And it's completely unconscious. And because it's such a core, deep part of their identity, it can feel like agony saying no or raising your price. So hopefully this is identifying for you like that as an example, one example of somebody who needs to be significant will get that need met by giving to others, while they may be saying over here that, yes, I'm come to coaching to be able to expand my business growth. But on one hand, they know what they want, and on the other hand, the need is like pulling them to be significant. So as a coach and as a trainer, I'm going to have to work through that need to be significant through that avenue to be able to help them create that financial success and that financial freedom. Pardon me, sorry. So it's that human need that's getting in the way of the success and making a bigger impact to a lot more people. So it's often a fun one to work with empaths. A very quick example of another is somebody who may have a strong need for certainty. And again, they may have had a bit of a chaotic childhood where, maybe dad's a gambler, there's chaos, there's stress, that somewhere their nervous system has said, my need for certainty, predictability, safety, security is so important that I will do whatever it takes for certainty. And that means that they may stay in relationships longer because it's the certainty, the rhythm, the routine with that person. It's like, yep, it's certain, I know what I'm doing. They may stay in jobs longer than they want to because it fulfills that need for certainty. So while this need is being met, it can feel quite draining and limiting because there's this other part of them that wants to grow, wants to expand, and wants to be able to have that adventure in life. And so again, with the coaching situation, we have to clear out the disempowering ways of getting that need for certainty met through monotony, the same routine, so on and so forth. So in a coaching situation, we're going to be working through that connection to her intuition and purpose, if that's what she's saying that she wants. I've got this need for certainty, need in the stale relationship. How can I bring more fun into my relationship? Well, you're going to have to bring in some variety or bring in something different than what you're currently doing. So when you know what somebody's needs are, and you will hear it in their language, they will tell you, whether they know that they're telling you or not, it's that keen ear that will hear what's actually being communicated. Communication is an interesting thing, right? It's a bit of an illusion until you have that validation, until you know that you've been heard, or until you sort of know what to listen out for with what's being said or not said uh, in a conversation. I go off track as I do. So when you know what someone's needs are, you now have the choice to meet their needs. So similar to that previous client example was I can now hear that client's needs and I can do a check-in with myself. Is that a case that I actually want to work on? And if I say yes, then yeah, can I meet their needs? Or in a relationship, once I understand what my husband's needs are to feel significant or for certainty, it gives me options to be able to help them feel like they matter, like they belong, so on and so forth. When you know what somebody's needs are, you can definitely predict their behavior. So I've got 4 teenage daughters, and so, knowing what their needs are means that when things get a bit wobbly at school, when that need isn't being met, their behavior may also get a bit wobbly. So again, once I know what their needs are, I have a choice on whether or not I help them get that need met. When you know what somebody's needs are, you can also recognize what motivates them. Thinking about thinking about even just now being at my chiropractor, and I know from his language he has a high need for to be around people. He's a very much a teams person, and and I know that when I'm working with him, I know he's working on my body, but I'm still coaching while I'm on the table. I'm naughty like that. But I often recognize when his career isn't moving as fast as he wants it to, it's obviously because one of those needs is not being met. And yeah, and then again, I have the choice on whether or not I point that out or coach him around it or not. So that's just me. When you know what somebody's needs are, you can work out what their underlying fears are. So again, somebody with a need for certainty, and you say, come on, let's go on a holiday, and they completely freak out. It's sort of like, okay, there's certainty in the travel plan, there's certainty in this accommodation. So you can work around it instead of other people's ideas of just being impatient and going like, it's just, too hard to deal with. Sort of like, no, actually, this is what I need. When you know what somebody's needs are, you can work through conflict a lot easier. So working with the client who's having conflict with her brother, and it's sort of like, yeah, let's profile him. Let's see what his needs are. And therefore you can choose to adapt your language to meet his need to reduce the conflict, or not. If you want to rev him up, you could do the opposite. And then when you know what somebody's needs are, as I've already stated, you can assess if they're a good match for working with you. And when you know what their needs are, you're able to coach them to create the success that they desire by their standards. So just by this simple piece of understanding what someone's needs are, you hold a lot of choice and a lot of power in your hands on helping that person get their needs met or not. Completely your choice. Again, those 6 human needs: certainty, variety, significance, connection, growth, and contribution. All right, let's go into them a little bit more detail. So that need for certainty, this one comes back to their survival needs. So their assurance that they can avoid pain and gain that pleasure. Similar to what I was talking about, if you've had a chaotic childhood, dad's gambling or alcohol or something like that, a chaotic kind of divorce, then you may have that high need for certainty, and you may feel a high level of anxiety when that need for certainty is not being met. So think about a time where you may have been without a job or a health scare. That anxiety will build in your system simply because this need is not being met. People who need certainty, you can spot them. They like to keep things the same way. They experience safety by being in control. They're the ones who like to drive or know what we're doing, like how we're doing it. They're very quick to anger or frustration if something is changed unexpectedly. They often get their needs met in the short term, sort of like, yep, this is what we're doing in the morning. But then long term, that's when, again, that anguish can start to surface. They do like to get the last word in, which I giggle because I think about I know, I've gone way off track, but I think about a dog that I had, Miss Nella, and she would always like to get the last word in. You know, she'd be barking, you'd tell her off, and she'd get the last word in. She had a way that she liked her routine. She gone off track. I'm talking about dogs instead of people. People who need certainty do not cope well with indecision. So if you're a coach and you've got a client who's thinking about coaching, should I, shouldn't I? You need to give them a deadline. You need to help them get this need met by saying, like, you need to make a decision. I need to know, as a coach, I need to know if you're all in and you've got 24 hours notice or a week's notice or such and such date. If you can give this person the certainty, the boundary of, we will operate, we will go yes if you by this date, or no if you wait too much, that will give them a sense of certainty. So it's very easy to be able to help that person get that relief, just knowing that there's a date. Their need for certainty will keep them in an unhealthy relationship longer than necessary. If someone has a high need for certainty, they won't open up as much as a person who has a higher need for love and connection. So this is telling you that something in their past has happened where there's a level of sort of mistrust, boundaries gone up for them. And if you can get their need met with certainty, then they will open up to you. But don't read their guard up as mistrust so much as their guard up is up for protection to get this need met. Okay, so in just the casual day-to-day, you can get this certainty met, need for certainty met by that immediate comfort, you know, working out, holding on to old stories of the past. They give you certainty. If I'm worked up and I need to get that release of anger, I'll go out and work out, and that will give me a release. That will give me certainty that I've got that release. So if I do this, it equals that, then I'm certain. If I do this, it gives me that, then I'm certain. Yeah, and as I said there on that slide, it can create boredom. The question is for you is, where in your life do you need certainty? This may not be high on your list as one of the top needs, but we still all have that. We need to know that when we get in the car, there's certainty that you push a button, turn a key, the engine's going to come on. We all have a need for certainty. And the other better question is, who do you know that demonstrates that they have a strong need for strong need for certainty? It's quite interesting to start evaluating your family members and your friends. Okay, so the opposite of certainty is the need for uncertainty, the need for variety. So it's those people who are excited about what's possible, excited by surprises, change, variety, new stimulus. So yeah, you can spot those people pretty quickly. It's that growth that makes them feel alive. So as Tony Robbins often jokes in his talks about the 6 human needs, is people who love variety, love surprises, and they're the surprises that they want. Otherwise, we call those surprises problems. So you can definitely gain variety by talking to a friend, watching a movie, going on a new holiday, a new restaurant, a new adventure. It's these things that give us that new experiences of life. And you can create variety in your world by setting a new goal, learning a new skill. So it doesn't have to be the whole big adventure of bungee jumping. You can create variety by trying something new, learning something new. And so the disempowered way of getting the uncertain need met is doing things like drugs and alcohol, the adrenaline stuff, being rebellious, anything that escapes that boredom. So if you do have, what's coming to mind is like that child who's acting out and being a bit rebellious, maybe even having a hard time concentrating at school. it's being able to give them a variety of different ways to get that need met, you know, a bit of this, a bit of that, to get them feeling like to get them stuck. Sorry, start again. To be able to get them to get that need met where it is constructive. Gosh, that was hard to say. So, where in your world do you need variety? Are you somebody who likes the same routine getting to work every day? Or are you the person who likes to try different streets, different ways of getting to work, different times? And thinking about the people that you know in your world who also have a strong need for uncertainty. Is if you've got a parent there who's like just always on the go, bike riding, adventure, new camping trips, or if you've got somebody who's quite predictable and you can almost predict to the minute on what they're doing. Now, as I've already expressed with the empath example at the beginning, the healer, there's a need to be significant. And, you know, thinking about interviews I've seen with Oprah, she often says that no matter what the big stars or the average kind of normal person, at the end of every interview, most people say, like, you know, was that good? Did I matter? Like, you know, this is such a core need for most people to know that they matter, that they belong. As I said at the beginning, people who are great healers tend to feel significant when they're giving and helping. And that's just one way of feeling significant. Because other ways of being significant is working hard. You know, if you're working in a solicitor's firm, working hard, get recognized by the boss, you know, I'm significant. Those people who are full-blown athletes, you know, I feel significant when I, you know, compete with myself to get the best times that I can get. The people who are wanting to be significant, the workaholics, the creative people who want to get things perfect, often they're working towards getting their needs met to be significant, that they matter. Now, the disempowering way of getting your needs met is sometimes having a problem, creating a lot of drama, the trauma bonding, because trauma bonding is quite interesting, isn't it? It's like when you've got that stress and the adrenaline, having a problem means that other people who want to talk about their problems tend to draw in, and there's almost this competition of who's got the worst problem. And now I matter because somebody's listening and there's a whole connection thing going on. So you can get the need to matter met in an unhealthy way. And in fact, some people will create illness to get this need met. When I'm not well, people tend to my needs, I matter, all eyes on me. So you can, again, very disempowering, but you can also gain significance by tattoos, standing out, tearing people down, judging, manipulating. So in that moment, that person will feel completely justified on why they're doing what they're doing because of this need that is getting met. May not be healthy, but that's what's driving the bus. Oh, as I've already said here, violence, bullying, creating drama, creating fear is definitely the way to feel significant. So you think about the bully on the playground when he's doing whatever, I'm saying he, could be she, when they've got the spotlight on them, when they're acting in a threatening way, all eyes are on them in that immediate gratification moment, because nothing else matters when you've got this person who's unpredictable and is that threat. So it's like, yeah, they matter. In that moment, they matter. Biochemically, men will die or kill to feel significant. It's that testosterone that creates that dominance and that push in the external world to be significant, to matter, to fight for what is right, apparently. So even though we've just gone from such a heavy example, think about where in your life do you need to be significant in a nice way, a disempowering way, and who do you know that demonstrates they have this strong need for significance? Who's trauma bonding? Who's creating drama and illness and pulling you in? Because I can think of my mum since passed, but my mum played this game. She was adopted, and so her need to be significant, I matter, she got that need met by being sick with cancer a lot. Yeah. So connection and love, they are actually two different things, but somebody who's got a strong need for connection will create and be very loyal to their friends and their relationships to be able to create that closeness, that union, to be able to get that need met. You can, as I've already stated with my mum previously, so, we're going from into the connection piece, but you can definitely create connection and significance through being sick, because again, as I've already said, everyone will come to you. You can create connection by having a lot of problems, and you think about somebody who's stuck in that victim mentality, that when they've got a lot of problems, there's a lot of eyes on them, a lot of help. And of course, with coaching with NLP, we can get them out of being at the effect and create the cause so they get the needs met in a healthier way. So going to a more positive light with connection, you can have a connection by being in nature, by meditating, by making love, creating admiring art, being in that creative space. So you can create connection with somebody, dancing the dance of life with them. Most people need love, but will settle for connection. So if you think about those people who are in an okay, kind of neutral, respectable relationship, they will stay in that relationship for that need of connection, more than that passionate love. Think about the need for connection when you come home and your animal's there, and it's sort of like there's this unconditional kind of connection there, this knowing that you matter that way. Women will have women are biochemically wired to love and nurture. As humans, we wouldn't exist without this need being hardwired. So it's definitely part of our nervous system for a lot of people to get this to get this need met. And again, where in your life do you need connection? How do you know who you need connection with? and thinking about those people around you, how do they demonstrate that they need connection with you? Nearly there, I've got 2 more to go. So growth. This is definitely my husband. He has a very high need for growth. In his wisdom, he is always doing a course, learning, progressing, so curious about life and what's possible with wisdom and knowledge. So people with this high need for growth is always looking for understanding, looking for how to put the pieces of the puzzle together. Otherwise, if you're not growing, you're rotting. And often when we think about people who are depressed, suicidal, feeling depleted, this is the need that's not getting met. And in fact, somebody who's depressed will often be wearing all of the masks and the shoulds of how everyone else says I should be. I should have the white picket fence and the 2 kids and the job and blah, blah, blah to be okay. And so they wear all of these masks and how they should be to get everybody else's needs met. When in fact, if in coaching, we take away all of those masks and the shoulds, we come back to their authentic self. And it's sort of like, well, what do you want? Magic wand, what do you want? And often it's to grow in an area of life where they would have maybe been shamed for or didn't have the opportunity to grow. So this one's quite interesting in how quickly things can change for people when they get this need met. So those whose foremost core need is growth are always striving to be better and to learn more. They're very good at their jobs, but tend to move on quickly when they believe they've reached their full potential. Think about somebody who's a spiritual healer. They may start off, if they have a high need for growth, they may start off learning Reiki, and then learning hypnosis, and then learning, I have no idea what else, but going up that, or kinesiology, they may go up that spiral of growth, up that ladder of growth. And this may get in the way when they continue to grow and learn instead of actually applying it. So they may stay stuck at in the one-on-one sort of framework instead of growing to teach bigger groups of people their amazing wisdom. So this is when the growth piece can get in the way. So through their constant striving for betterment, ensures that they'll never be bored. They can lean on the side of perfectionism and often neglect the rest and relaxation because, you know, if you've got that moment to take a breath, cool, what can I do with this? What can I learn? So think about the people in your world. How are they demonstrating their need for growth? And where in your life do you need growth? And the last one, contribution, that beautiful sense of service and focusing on helping, giving to support others. This is different to the empath piece that I was talking about early on. This is that contribution to a bigger community, let's say. Think of the volunteers, think of the charity work, think of, yeah, ways to make a greater contribution to get that need met. So it's bigger than just you and it's bigger than the person in front of you. It's striving for more for the betterment of others. This particular value or this particular need can become negative when, let's say, dad is so driven to so driven to contribute. Maybe he's a firefighter or SES volunteer and he's just like constantly with the boys club, contributing to the community, doing for the greater good, than just being home with the kids. So it's probably not the best example, but you get the picture, right? Yeah, there's a, it can get in the way when there's not a balance. And so finally there, where in your life do you need to contribute? How do you bring community into your world? And do you know anyone who demonstrates that they have this strong need to contribute? My grandmother was one of those volunteers, the op shops and the communities and the the knitting club and the everything that she could contribute and give. And while she could contribute and give to her family, you know, when Nanny worked at the op shop, then, you know, that's where we met her at. That's where she was most, you know, alive in herself, was when she was contributing. So yeah, it was a beautiful demonstration of her heart and how much she wanted to contribute to so many people. Alrighty, so we're nearly at the end there. Why we do what we do? Do we do it for certainty, variety, significance, for contribution, connection, or growth? Now, you can definitely check out Tony Robbins. He has a quiz on which one are you, and that's the link there if you want to take a quick screenshot to go find it. And then my encouragement to you at the end of this video is to recognize what other people's needs are, just to hear it in their language and to just sort of play with, I think this is the need that they're trying to get met, and seeing what you can do to have that ripple effect of goodness and compassion and kindness to somebody else's world, and notice what kind of impact that has. So we've come to the end of my slideshow. I hope that makes sense. It's a lot of fun to start to recognize what people's needs are, because in the coaching journey, then you can start to recognize what they're deleting, distorting, generalizing. You can recognize their model of the world, and then you get to do the good stuff and help them shift those limitations, all of those rubbish beliefs, to bring in that sense of purpose. I'm Claire Chancellor from Be Your Purpose, and I will talk to you later.